we'll go to Zimbabwe, where longtime President Robert Mugabe, we understand, is holding talks with South African negotiators over his future, as envoys from the Southern African Development Community SADC are trying to reach a deal on the future of Zimbabwe. And the man who has led that country for 37 years, he himself, 93, was put under house arrest on Wednesday after the army moved to take control. Zimbabwe's opposition leader Morgan Tsvangirai also says that Mr. Mugabe must resign. Let's go on Skype now and have a very quick conversation with Dr. Winston Manor. Dr. Winston Manor is at the University of Westminster in London. He is Zimbabwean, has done a lot of work about the Zimbabwean situation as well. Sir, thank you very much for your time here on The Pulse. Let me find out from you, at the moment, are you in touch with your family back in Zimbabwe, and what is the information that they've, been sending through to you?
Hello there, Kate. Yes, indeed. I'm in touch with my family in Zimbabwe. They are all safe, and apparently this is a very smooth, crisis in terms of lives. Yeah. What we have is a squabble, in my view, between members of the ruling party. It's a succession issue.
If, in your view, you're calling an intolerable, but then this is seen widely as the world as a coup d'etat. Why is it that it seems that Zimbabweans themselves, the military, are finding it very difficult to describe it as what people think it is, a coup?
It is not a coup for the reason that it was announced in advance. If people are carrying out a coup, as you can gather from experiences in West Africa and other parts of Africa, these are always sudden, very secretive. But here, they say to the president on Monday, if you don't stop the deteriorating situation, as the army, we are entitled to protect the country. It is what we are required to do as part of the constitution. So they were raising issues that have to do with, the succession issue, that members of the ruling ZANU-PF party were part of the liberation struggle. Some of them were being sidelined, and yet they thought that they were part of the struggle, and they're entitled to rule.
I see. What is the future of Robert Mugabe? Of course, he's been doing this for many years, since 1980. That's a very long time. At the moment, we understand that there are some negotiations going on, and it's been done through officials that have come from South Africa, for example. What do you perceive will be the future for Zimbabwe and for him?
Yeah, but let me just also finish putting things into perspective. We're talking about why it's not a coup, yeah? So they are sticking to the constitution, but they also did not remove the figurehead. Their commander-in-chief was still in place, but so they put it technically as a standoff between the commander-in-chief and his soldiers, yeah? So the rest of the country continued to have, daily life. Much of the government work was not affected. So when it's a coup, we have a replacement of the government. We have the constitution suspended. We have the head of state removed. So what the army was arguing and what it wanted, I think, was an audience with their commander-in-chief. It is a very unprecedented move with the Zimbabwean conflict.
Mm-hmm. But it's certainly, I mean, we can move away from
There's been a standoff for the past 48 hours where President Robert Mugabe and his team, some of them were targeted by this military group. They are saying certain criminals had surrounded the president. So what we are going to do is to free the president from these criminals. It is a very peculiar situation.
And certainly, and I'm not sure you've referred to the Constitution, but how constitutional is it to keep the president under house arrest? and call that not a coup?
African regional bodies like SADC and the African Union, they have been briefed, and they said they agreed that it's not a coup, in the classic sense, yeah. But they were concerned that why is the president, President Zuma was able to talk to President Mugabe. So it is not a coup, but it is a situation which requires, diplomatic intervention, which is going on at the moment.
I see.
So there was what I'm concerned about, because I'm coming from media and information. There's been lack of information about what is really going on. I think the military was not being covered in the main news, so they took over the broadcasting session. But at the same time, we also have a lot of rumors on social media. Some people are saying this, some people even imitating President Robert Mugabe, and this does not help, But the social media has been an outlet for some of the information, the insights. What we know at the moment is that there have been arrests. There have not been any. There have been, I think, very minimal, impact on the rest of Zimbabwe.
That's what the reports say, but also we're looking at the future of Zimbabwe. I mean, going on from here, you did send a link that's saying that it appears that there has been some kind of resolution, that the problem has been some way somehow resolved, because Mr. Mugabe seems to have come to an agreement with the military people. I didn't get the chance to look through that story, but if you could give me a brief on that, and we look at that vis-a-vis the future of Zimbabwe and Robert Mugabe.
Yes, I think because the President Robert Mugabe is, a statesman who has been in power for 37 years, is so much, part of Zimbabwe's history. So everybody is hoping that he looks at this situation and realizes that perhaps, there is need to negotiate a new future. Zimbabweans are sending a message to him. He's no longer a young person. He's 94 in February. And the problem was that some people were seeing him as preferring to groom his wife as the next leader. And they thought that this is a bedroom coup. They are trying to, elevate and to give a more, leverage. Yeah.
Now, you have studied the issue of Africa. I mean, the African politics and African development for quite some time now. And as the Africa Media Center Director, what do you see will be the impact on African politics, on politics in Zimbabwe, politics in the Southern Africa area?
I think there are many views to this. According to many Zimbabweans on social media and all that, they think this is a new start. This will kickstart, the democratization project, or this will take it to another level. Yeah. They are now thinking of putting together a transitional authority, which is composed of members of the ruling party, but also opposition figures. And then they will look at a official date for elections.
Okay.
After a ruling party, after a party that has controlled power for 37 years, this could be, a new kind of, start. But it is continued with some elements of the past, and it's going to be inclusive from what I hear. And President Mugabe is expected to remain as a figurehead to give advice to this transitional authority. Would this result in a new dispensation? That's what everybody is expecting.
Okay, we'll be here, we'll be monitoring, and we'll see how it goes. But sir, thank you very much for helping us with that analysis. Dr. Winston Mano is the director of the Africa Media Center, the University of Westminster. He is a Zimbabwean, has very strong roots in Zimbabwe, goes there quite frequently as well. So his perspective, very insightful.